Welcome back, Jen and Paul here. This is the third video in our series of videos about our stay here in Puerto Plata.
And today what we're going to do is we're going to take you down to the old town. We'll see the town square and we'll even go up to the point to see the fort. On the way there, we may stop for lunch if we get hungry.
But before we do have a pit stop that I have to make. We have to go to Claro so that I can pay my cell phone bill. And then after that, we'll take a walk from there into town and show you some of the sights along the way. So without waiting anymore, I'm going to gather my stuff and we'll take an Uber to Claro and we'll see you on the other side.
We're off.
Alright, we just come back from Claro where I've paid off my bill for the month. And now we're walking down to the Mercado Municipal. Taking one of the side streets rather than taking an Uber. We're looking at some of the sights. We'll take you along with us. It is fairly noisy and we do need to keep our head on a swivel. Actually, I think the market is up over there. Let's go up this way. Roads are in pretty good condition. I expect that there won't be too many crowds today because there are no ships that are supposed to be coming into port. But we'll go into the municipal market and see what there is there. The upstairs location at the Mercado is mostly tourist trap lots of souvenirs, paintings and other articles. The interesting part is actually downstairs where the local market is. And this is the market where all the fruits and vegetables are sold. A lot of it's very good. Hola. That was a brief walk through the municipal market. A lot of good stuff. A lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. We'll have to stop by here on the way back at the end of the day and pick up some of the stuff that we need. Provisions for the home.
Yeah, they had some papaya and some cantaloupe that I want to pick up.
And we'll see what we can negotiate in terms of price. Everything is negotiable. So as we walk around the streets, you can notice that there are a number of places that are well maintained. Others are still undergoing development. A number of places actually have very nice murals. But one thing that you notice around here is there are a lot of motorcycles and it is very noisy. Even the cars and trucks are fairly noisy. And taxis keep trying to pick you up thinking you might need a ride. Sidewalks here are somewhat of an afterthought. Even where there are sidewalks, they're not even clear. They do have pillars and even openings to homes, stairs on the sidewalks. So it makes navigating them a little bit difficult. And for a change of pace and a little bit of peace and quiet, we walked into the municipal cemetery where all the crypts, or not all of them, but a lot of the crypts
Are above ground.
Are above ground. Some of these crypts are quite elaborate and some of them are very, very simple. The elaborate ones probably were built by well-to-do, wealthy families in the area. One of the things you find around here frequently are what may be stray dogs or just dogs that are free and go back home when they need to have food. And they're even here in the church. One of the things that you might not notice is that the rain runoff for the roads is not quite the same as back home. They do have runoffs, and it's basically a trench. As they built up the road, they left the trench for the water to drain.
So you've got to watch your step when you cross the road and step over them.
So we're slowly making our way to Victorian Square, where the big gazebo is, and where there are some very colorful Victorian era buildings.
Watch your step.
And you'll see there's a transition from these streets to the ones that have been built for the tourists. As you can see, there's a dramatic difference in the streets for the locals and the tourist streets that are down near all the tourist traps. Recently renovated, paid for by tourist dollars. And this is Plaza Independencia. With a large gazebo, a number of trees, very popular hangout for locals and tourists alike. A lot of the tour buses drop off the tourists here, where they can then make their way around various different tourist sites around the downtown area.
There's also a lot of pigeons.
One of the few places that we've seen pigeons in the city.
Yeah, we really haven't seen any birds.
Up around where we are, and even along the beach, along the Malecon, hardly see any birds. Well, let's take you on a little tour of the square. Despite the fact that the city was founded in the late 15th century and developed during the 16th and 17th centuries, the buildings here are of the Victorian era, late 19th century. That's because the city of Puerto Plata was burned to the ground during the Restoration War of 1863-1865. There are a number of eateries around the square. The majority of them are geared specifically for tourists and have prices to match. Some of them are even probably on a par with some of the luxury restaurants we have back at home. So we need to get off the beaten path to get good food at a decent price. Well, we certainly lucked out today because I don't think there's any cruise ships in the harbor, so it is very quiet out here.
Yeah.
We've been down here once before where it was just wall-to-wall people. So we shouldn't have a problem getting a decent meal at a decent price. And you're taking off the beaten path. See what's down this way.
Would you like to come and take a look here?
No, thank you. Gracias. Mexican bar and urban food. And this is the famous Paseo de Doña Blanca.
Which is very quiet today.
No cruise ships, very few tours. The last time we were in here, it was shoulder to shoulder. Couldn't even take pictures because there were so many people. Lucked out. Hardly anybody here. There's nothing really specific about it other than the fact that everything is painted pink. The alley was designed in September 2019 to celebrate the arrival of Bianca de Ranieri in 1898. And of course there's the requisite bar, and someone tried to sell pictures with the monkey.
He's cute. Just a little guy.
Yeah, very cute. And while there may not be cruise ships, there are tour buses. A lot of tourists that are coming off of the various different resorts. They're coming here on guided tours. You can see them across the street. Oh, and I'm feeling drops of rain. And of course, if you want to buy property here, apparently there is a Remax. And this is Calle de las Sombrillas, or Umbrella Street.
Let me get my wings. My wings!
Alright, we're looking for a place to eat. We're gonna head down this way. There should be a couple of restaurants. We'll try one of them out and see how it goes. We're still kind of in the tourist district, but it's at the very tail end of it. So not as much foot traffic. And there's still some areas where they're still doing work. Cheers.
Cheers.
We're at the Golden Rooftop Bar Restaurant with some interesting views all around the city of Puerto Plata. Off in the distance you can see the church at the Victorian Square, Independence Square. To that side you can actually see some of the water. There's no cruise ships here, so you don't see the cruise ships. But yeah, and we have a nice breeze. A little spit of rain, but not much. But we got food coming. It's an interesting little restaurant. Pretty well situated. Right now it's very quiet. It's the middle of the day, and as there's no cruise ships, not a lot of traffic. And interestingly enough, not only is it a bar restaurant, it has a hot tub.
Yeah.
I don't know when they have it running, but it's not running right now, so I don't think we'll be going for a dip. We don't have our bathing suits.
Forgot our bathing suits. We didn't know we'd need them.
Next time.
Well, we've got our meal. I chickened out and I got the simple spaghetti with garlic bread.
I ordered mofongo with pollo, chicken mofongo. It's a plantain dish similar to mango. So we'll see what this is like.
It looks interesting.
It looks very good. It's got some fried plantain on top, and then you got the mango mixed with some crunchy noodles on top, and a cheese sauce. We'll see what that's like.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It has kind of like a sweet taste to it.
Yeah, creamy sauce in the middle. Plantain mango on the outside. Piping hot, and the crunchy noodles are a good touch. Let's see what the chicken's like. Tender, lightly seasoned. Really good.
That was delicious, but I just couldn't finish it all. Now, let's go for a stroll. We're headed up to San Felipe Fort. Join us along the way. Now we're on a stroll to the Fort San Felipe. Join us.
All right, so we're at the point where the fort is. A number of things to see: the amphitheater, the Gregorio Luperon statue, the iron lighthouse, and the fort itself, and of course the beautiful City of Puerto Plata sign. It came down it was a storm, a couple of months ago, and it recently went back up You saw it when they were putting it up, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
So it's relatively new, but they did a good job. Here's the sign. The walkway from the road down to the fort is well maintained. It's a nice park, a number of park benches to sit on. There's some swings and teeter-totters. So it's made for families to come and spend some time, relax. View overlooking the water. There's some white caps today because it is a little windy. Some waves, but can't complain. It's not too hot. She thinks it's cold.
Only a little.
No, still warm, especially walking, holding a camera, and carrying a backpack. A bit of snag in our plans. It started raining. We've taken refuge under a shelter. Hopefully it passes soon. I don't want to spend the rest of the afternoon under here. But weather changes quickly here. We'll wait and see.
Rain doesn't last for long. Okay, the rain has finally stopped. It was only a little bit anyways. So now we're off to the fort. See what's there.
This way, we're gonna try anyway and see how long the rain stays away. And behind me you can see the park for the children. There's swings and teeter-totters and other apparatuses that they can climb on. Pretty well maintained park. Empty right now because, well, the weather is not that great. The building behind us has a wall of reflective glass. It's like a mirror. Pretty good reflection. Hello. Behind me is the outdoor amphitheater. They have coverings over the stage when they have shows. Last time we were down here there was no covering on the stage, so either they had one or they're going to have one maybe tonight or this weekend sometimes. We'll see. Gregorio Luparon was one of the leaders of the Restoration War of 1863, leading to the Republic gaining its independence for the second time in 1865. This old fort was built back in the 16th century and is the oldest building still in Puerto Plata. All the other buildings were burned down at the start of the Restoration War of 1863. This fort has been standing since then. It was occupied by the Spanish during the Restoration War. Dominican patriots attacked the fort and the town, driving the Spaniards out and obtaining their independence for the second time. The fort has been used as a prison off and on throughout the years and was actually the prison where the Mirabal sisters' husbands were incarcerated when they came to visit them in Puerto Plata. The fort was restored and then opened to the public back in 1983, I believe it was. The entry fee is only 100 pesos per person, which is relatively cheap, but it is a very old and very, very small fort. Not a whole lot to it. There's a couple of cannons on this side, a couple of cannons on the other side.
Not much to see.
Yeah, it's very small, but it did what it was needed to do, which is set up a defense for the bay here in Puerto Plata. Okay, behind us you can see the jetty where the cruise ships moor when they come into Puerto Plata. As you can see, there are none.
Not today.
Not today, but it can accommodate several cruise ships here, and that Amber Cove, which is just the other side of the bay, there's a new port which can accommodate as many as 4 larger cruise ships. So there can be a large number of cruise ships that arrive in Puerto Plata at the same time. Fortunately for us, they're not here today, and it's very, very quiet. Not much going on down here at the fort, not much going on downtown in historic El Centro or at the Victoria Square. So it's been a good day for us, but a bad day for those that depend on tourists.
Even the weather is nice. Got a little rain, lasted a few minutes, but now it's great and it's not too hot.
The upper part of the fort is round for 2 reasons. One, it gives you a wider view of the bay and the ocean to be able to fire on incoming ships, but it also provides the ability to defend the fort if it's attacked from the land side. Again, not very large, but room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cannons. Would have been noisy when they all went off at the same time. All right, now we're going to try and make our way up to the Iron Lighthouse. This is a lighthouse that was built, and I can't remember the exact date, but it was sometime after the fort was built. And because it was made of iron, it prematurely rusted, deteriorated, but it was restored. Funds were raised. Amex apparently made a big gift, and it is now been fully restored and is available for viewing by the public. And here we are in front of the amphitheater on the way up to the lighthouse. I'm curious as to what the show is going to be. I know that the festivals are coming up in the month of February. And
It starts Sunday.
apparently it starts Sunday. I think that's what I read. Not so sure, but there's supposed to be parades and festivals every Sunday through the month of February until the beginning of March. So that'll be fun, especially down the Malecon, which is already noisy enough. We're in the building next to the lighthouse. From what I was able to figure out in reading, this was the quarters where the soldiers were billeted when they weren't working in the fort. Stairs here that
Go to nowhere.
don't seem to go to anywhere. It's not built quite like the fort, although the windows are cut out at angles to allow wider angle of shooting with firearms. But the windows are not made as small as they are in the fort, because this is not a defensible location, although there are ramparts. And on the outside, on the land side of the building, you do have walls that circle around. Hi, Poochie. He's been following us around for a little while. And again, we have some cutouts over in the walls for defensive purposes there. No cannons up here though, mostly firearms. And several more cutouts. And no, those cutouts aren't for firing down on the amphitheater. Okay, I think we've done all that we can. We've done El Centro, we've done the fort, we've done the area around the fort, the statue, we've even done the lighthouse and the soldiers' billet. And I think we're about ready to call it a day. It's getting close to dinner time.
Time to head home and make some supper.
So we'll grab an Uber and head back home and see what we can do with what we recorded today. And perfect timing, just our luck. We caught an Uber
Waited 2 minutes for it to show up. It brought us home. We've been home 5 minutes, and it's a downpour. We could have been waiting for the Uber in this rain. Guess the gods are looking out for us.
Well, we managed to get back from the tour before the deluge, and we managed to stay dry. We're lucky.
Barely. We hope you enjoyed your tour around town. Don't forget to hit like and share.
And don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell to get notified for when we put out a new video. We do have more videos coming. We don't know what the topic of the next video is going to be, but one of the ones in the near future is going to be a tour of a large city outside of Puerto Plata. So until then, hasta luego.
Adios.